Good morning and welcome to Sunday morning's early morning intuitive guidance. I hope you're off to a good start today, and we'll give it a minute here for people to pop on. Let's see. Well, it's interesting. My icons look different today. Things have changed again, apparently. Let's roll with it. All right, so let's start with some breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, there's someone. Out through the mouth. Good morning, Barb. Now we've got 3 people on. Okay, so let's see who else has joined Barb this morning. Good morning, good morning. Glad you are here. Jonille, you're back home. I hope you had an awesome vacation. Wonderful. Okay, in through the nose, everybody. Out through the mouth. Good morning, Gwen. Glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. Everybody's starting to roll in. This is good. So, again, we have a card from the Nature Portals deck because it's the only deck I brought along with me. Good morning, Beth. Glad you are here. We got some Yoopers here this morning. Good morning, Ruth Ann. We got the West Coast represented. We got the East Coast represented. Good morning, Cindy. All kinds of people popping in. This is good. Good morning, Peggy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, Nature Portals. And the irony of this card does not get past me. So we'll see if you find it ironic also. But this little dude is our message bearer today. Trolls represented. Yes, those downstaters. It is good. It is good. Yes. So this is our dude for today. And the title is Have the Courage to be Different. Have the courage to be different. And I really feel like the C and the D on that should have been capitalized. Have the courage to be different. It takes some effort to do that. So let's start with Dr. Seuss, who is today's quote. Today you are you that is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. So that's, and the colors kind of look Seussian to me also. So let's see what it says. Have the courage to be different. We're often surprised and delighted by nature's uniqueness and diversity. And isn't that interesting? Wouldn't we count as part of nature? What examples of something unusual, different, or out of the ordinary do you see in the natural world? I mean, there's a ton of pattern in the world, but there's also a ton of differences. Consider your own uniqueness. What qualities or abilities do you have? What makes you different? What makes you special? And do you view the things that make you different as precisely the things that make you special? How many of you have had difficulty in your life? Good morning, Mel. Glad you are here. Being the one who's been different. Yep, people don't get you. People don't understand where you're coming from. Can you still value that uniqueness? I feel like we're in a period right now where much of that cookie cutter, we got to do it this way, you're not doing it right, blah, blah, blah stuff is really being a challenge. And again, the dying donkey kicks the hardest. So I think what's happening there is we're releasing more of that. We're going to be opening up to greater and greater diversity, which is going to be a huge value. Remember we talked about complicated systems versus complex systems the other day, and how human beings don't embrace complex systems. We view it as messy, and then we try to put order on it, and in so doing, we make it fragile and complicated. Good morning, Diane. Glad you are here. Welcome, welcome. We're up to my magic number 8. Glad you're all here. For instance, city planners who plant the same tree everywhere. And again, like I said, the emerald ash borer goes through, and pretty soon the city has no trees left. You've created a fragile system by not being willing to embrace the diversity that occurs naturally in woods. Good morning, Donine. Glad you are here. When we allow for that messiness of a complex system, when we have the courage to be different, when we don't allow ourselves to be forced into, this is the way we've always done it, here's how it has to go, blah, blah, Casper milk toastness, Then there's robustness to the system. Does it create some difficulty? Sure. There's irritation about why are they like that? There's effort we have to put forward on our part to embrace the differences in people. We have to practice really, really, really good communication. That's why we did the whole book, Taking the War Out of Our Words. Is it easy to apply to a language like English that is war-based from the get-go? No. I fought cancer. I battled with this. I'm going to go challenge that. All of that languaging stuff that doesn't serve us, doesn't help us move into more of community and acceptance of differences and allowance for people to be who they really are. So what would be a small step toward considering your own uniqueness and accepting your own uniqueness? Yes, people who are on the spectrum, yes, struggle a lot. And oftentimes there's one theory that people who are dealing with disabilities, and I'm going to put that in heavy quotes, are actually more evolved beings who are here to help the rest of us kind of come along. That we're not getting it, and so we need some ambassadors to give us some guidance in terms of accepting those who are different and accepting ways of doing things that are different and creating ways of communicating about that so that we're open to, okay, you're going to do it that way, I'm going to do it this way. If we can come to something that's agreeable, we can probably work together. Otherwise, maybe we do it sequentially. I'll do my piece, then you do your piece, whatever. Again, and I know I've preached this a bunch, having now engaged in some pretty interesting chunks of sociocracy, it's so hard doing things the way we've always done them because I can see how much better the communication goes doing it the other way. But it's also interesting to try to bring people along to a different way of doing something when it hasn't been the way they've done it before. When people are excited about it and embrace, okay, let's try this new thing. It's going to be arduous to begin with, but I'm willing to give it a whirl because what we've been doing hasn't been working real well. Then we have a learning curve. It takes 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, however long it takes to get facile at something. I saw an interesting video yesterday. Here's a tangent. Right along with me, if you will. It was 2 different women, one of whom had been training in ballet for 19 years, the other of whom had been training in ballet for 2 years. And the person who'd been training in ballet for 2 years did this video to demonstrate that while she had the understanding of various things, a fouette, a pirouette, whatever. Good morning, Linda. Glad you are here. Her execution was not at all like the person who had done it for 19 years. We need to expect that in other things. We need to expect that in like people learning something like sociocracy. Those who have done it for decades, it just flows. Those of us who are brand new, it's arduous, it's effortful, it takes a concerted focus to actually get it to flow. Have the courage to be different. Is it fun? Especially is it fun if you feel like you're introducing something new, good morning Janine, that other people don't get? No, that's not fun at all a lot of times. But it's worth the challenge and it's worth being who you really are. I think there's many people in this world. I think a lot of mental illness. I think a lot of substance abuse. I think a lot of the conflicts that we have right now is a direct result of people not truly being who they are, but going along to get along, looking around to see what other people are doing to decide what they're going to do, trying to be good, whatever the heck that is, right? So have the courage to be different. Consider your own uniqueness. What qualities and abilities do you have? And if those have been suppressed, one of my abilities, I'm left-handed. There aren't that many of us, 10%, something like that. the universe is not set, world is not set up for people who are left-handed. And so there were many years, thankfully prior to my time, where they tried to force people to be right-handed. Didn't go well, didn't work well. They were meant to be left-handed. Someone's meant to be a redhead. How unique, how interesting. Someone else is meant to be on the spectrum. How unique, how interesting. Can we allow for uniqueness and interest? I also read a post before I jumped on here. Someone who is explaining some of the uproar about the opening ceremonies at the Olympics. And you could feel the energy of this person saying, come on, people. That's not what this was. And here's the history, the ancient history of these traditions and where they came from, etc. It was just interesting. And I've not read a bunch of the other stuff, which I'm pretty glad I haven't. But this person taking a swing at, let's understand this from the perspective in which it was intended, not all this made up stuff that people are choosing to be outraged about. Interesting. Another lefty. There we go. Yes. And oftentimes for some people, the being forced to do things right-handed created a whole variety of other fallout that has made their lives more difficult. Although I will say in school it was difficult when we had those desks that had the arms on them, and they were all right-handed arms. There were none of them that, and so I'd have to turn in the chair to line my left hand up with the desk, and then I'd get hollered at for not sitting straight. You know, it's just, yeah. The universe, the challenges people face. How do we do this with more finesse? How do we do this with more compassion? How do we do this with more accommodation for things that to you may not seem like a big hairy deal, but for the person who's living with it? I remember a post someone posted recently about people asking questions and him having been a little short with he said, this may be the first time you're asking the question. It may be the 100th time I've been asked that question. I remember that being out as a person in my 20s at college with 3 friends, and this guy from school walked past, and he was really tall. He had to be, I don't know, 6'10", something like that, really tall. And one of my friends asked him, how tall are you? And you could see the eye roll, because I'm sure he got asked that a bazillion times a day. It was the first time she was asking, but a bazillion times a day. We need to have some compassion for people, and we need to embrace difference. So let's see how we can do today in terms of being courageous with our differences and speaking our truth about our differences, and see where it leads us. I hope you have an awesome Sunday. We'll see you again tomorrow. I should be back in my own digs then. And have an awesome day. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are, including embracing your differences and allowing that to be part of the beautiful diversity in our world. Bye-bye.